Okay, welcome everyone. We are here to celebrate the work of Savannah Thomas, who has been an intern with us for 2 terms at Painted Brain. She's done a lot of things, from making podcasts to interviewing folks to editing. She's been quite a remarkable intern, and we want to do a little bit to highlight some of the work she's done. Kevin Nedruse, the communications director, and I, Tristan Scrumman, the community liaison, will be interviewing Savannah Thomas. Savannah, can you talk a little bit about your experiences at PB? What have been some of the highlights? You don't have to go too far, but just tell us a little bit about some of the work you've done.
I think I've had the experience to do a lot at Painted Brain that I otherwise probably wouldn't have elsewhere. I've done both like solo projects as well as like a lot of collaborative work at Painted Brain. Of course, it's been surrounding mental health, and I've really got the amazing opportunity to explore the mental health. Like, I've been super interested in mental health, and I have been wanting to find a way to integrate that into the work that I do as a journalist. And unfortunately, as of right now, there aren't a ton of opportunities to do so. So working at Painted Brain has been this fantastic opportunity to explore my own mental health, talk about it with others, as well as integrate it into work that other people can appreciate, relate to, and connect with. So working at Painted Brain has been fantastic for these past couple months.
What are some of the contributions you feel that you've made to Painted Brain?
In terms of like the work that I've done for Painted Brain, like I said, I've done a lot of solo work, but then also collaborative work as well. Some of the biggest personal achievements I feel like I've made have been with, I did 2 podcasts that I produced myself that had to do with COVID-19 and then quarantine, self-isolation, and depression. So that was really the first time I got to exercise some of my skills in that regard by myself, and I was really proud of the work that I had done. But then one of the biggest collaborative projects that I've done was a webinar that just passed that was talking about Minority Mental Health Month. So I was part of planning, and then I was the moderator for the event itself, so I was asking all the questions. Again, it was just really fun to work with some of the journalistic techniques that I've learned over the past couple of years at university, and then apply them to the real world with great effect. So I was really happy to be a part of that as well.
This is kind of a follow-up question to that one. Can you talk a little bit more about your experience with Minority Mental Health Month? I mean, you helped at some of the planning, you helped maybe draft some of the questions, you worked with all the moderators. Tell us a little bit more about that. I mean, Minority Mental Health Month was a big deal for Painted Brain, and I know you played an important role. I mean, you were the moderator of the event also. Tell us a little bit more about that experience. What was it like collaborating and working with folks?
Yeah, so I think it was a bit of a learning curve for everybody. So Painted Brain, it was the first time putting on like a panel like this, especially over Zoom. For me, it was my first time getting to work with others to plan an event of this scale. So it was really, we were learning from each other, me offering my insight to how to conduct a good interview, and them on how to plan something like this, how to get the right types of people, like to make sure that we're having the right kinds of discussions. So for me, it was really interesting to, first of all, just work with so many different people. I think at one point it was like 14, 15 people all on like a Zoom call trying to figure out like, okay, what kind of questions do we want to ask? How do we focus like to this one particular area? And then when the Zoom interview was happening itself with all of our fantastic panelists, for me, it was being able to integrate the questions that we had planned beforehand while working with like the sort of time frame that we had. So I think it ended up being a really big success. Everyone who was there seemed to love it. The panelists, people who were watching, the people who I had spent like several weeks beforehand planning with. So for me, that kind of experience is something that is really kind of one in a million. And I know that Painted Brain, because it is a smaller company, I do get responsibilities that I probably wouldn't if I was working at like, say, New York Times as an intern. They'd probably give me like tiny stories to do. So I like having this kind of responsibility because I get to do more and be a part of something. So I feel like I'm actively engaging with so many others as well. So it was a really enriching experience. I enjoyed it a lot.
Tell us about your work at Painted Brain with podcasts.
Yeah, so the podcast that I have produced myself, the COVID-19 anxiety and depression ones, those ones were some of the work that I'm most proud of at Painted Brain, like I said, it was a solo endeavor, but with Painted Brain's like support and the resources, interviewing members of the staff there, here, I should say. But yeah, it was really exciting. It was one of the first sort of big projects that I did myself, that I got to put my name onto, like creator. I get the byline for it, so that was cool. Yeah, it's been really fun. I'm really looking forward to doing more in the future as well. So yeah, just a lot of, again, getting to apply some of the practices that I had learned beforehand at school to real world experiences and seeing how well they pay off and how much everyone likes them. Blogging experiences have been fantastic, and Painted Brain gives me so much creative freedom that they really are very encouraging of me to be able to try different topics, explore new ways of like thinking and approaching certain topics. So I'm really thankful for that as well.
Cool. Well, this next question, you know, the world got turned upside down a couple of times during your stay as a intern. The first one was COVID-19. I mean, right when you began, I think is when COVID really hit, at least here in California. Talk a little bit about, you know, what it was like, you know, doing this internship during COVID. What were the challenges? I mean, your first two podcasts were about COVID. So you produced those during a pretty remarkable time in our history. So can you say anything about that?
Yeah, I think like everywhere else, people are learning how to communicate and do work online. So it was in that way really, I think, weird for everybody, not in so much a bad way, or different, I should say. It's not weird, but yeah, producing work virtually has definitely been an endeavor in of itself. It's been, again, Painted Brain has been remarkably supportive of both, like, they understand that I have other projects that I've been doing as well, alongside of Painted Brain, so they've been giving me, like, the time to produce those, as well as the work at Painted Brain, so I'm happy about that. I got to sort of work on different projects all at once. But yeah, I think especially because of how accepting Painted Brain is, and they really do enjoy sort of broaching topics people are uncomfortable to talk about, to speak about. That has greatly influenced and given me a lot more freedom to produce certain kinds of work. So talking about COVID-19 and, like, you know, the mental impacts that it has on individuals, I probably wouldn't have been able to speak my mind as much as I would, or I've been able to speak my mind more at Painted Brain than I would have at like a larger corporation where they try and censor sort of topics like that. And now there's issues of like social unrest and things like that, minority mental health. These are topics that bigger corporations don't tend to speak on because it's not seen as like politically correct or things like that. Painted Brain has wanted to broach those and like bring up these types of conversations with others. So I like working at Painted Brain because I have the ability to talk about these things and help others understand like their own mental health and the social unrests and types of things that people are going through. So it's been remarkable to work here because of that.
So speaking of social unrest, what does it mean to do the work during this time?
Well, like I kind of just alluded to, I think doing work at this time is incredibly important because people are hesitant to talk about it, and that's what's led to so much social unrest. People not wanting to talk about it, trying to like, oh, it's not as bad as it seems. Painted Brain has really been all about like approaching these types of topics head on and trying to facilitate discussions around them. So I think having the liberty to do that and the ability to have these kind of conversations that other people don't want to have is remarkable, like really, truly. Other places that I was considering working at, they definitely wouldn't have given me the same opportunity to talk about such important discussions. So yeah, I think any type of work, but especially that surrounding like mental health during this time is going to be very, very crucial. So I'm glad Painted Brain has given everyone sort of the opportunity to discuss it.
Great. Thank you, Savannah Thomas, for your amazing work at Painted Brain. And we look forward to the possibility of future collaborations. Thank you from all of us at Painted Brain.
Thanks, Savannah.